Welcome to Congress Unpacked, where we dig into the drama, the clashes, and the honest moments you won't find in the headlines. Today, Senator John Kennedy went head-to-head with Dr. Stephen Moran, President Trump's pick for the Federal Reserve Board. Their exchange was a masterclass in political theater, with real consequences for America's economy. Kennedy kicked things off with a classic zinger: do presidents, any president, generally appoint their enemies? Dr. Moran tried to dance around it, but Kennedy wasn't having it. He made it clear presidents pick allies, not rivals. This isn't a civics textbook, it's real life.
Dr. Myron, do presidents, any president, generally appoint their enemies?
Thank you, Senator, for the question.
Don't thank me. It just takes up time.
I believe that when they nominate them,
Do they generally appoint their enemies?
they don't believe they are when they're when they're making.
Do presidents, any president, generally appoint people that they agree with on social and economic policy?
I believe that presidents appoint people whose
That's a
policies,
yes, isn't it?
Yes.
Because we live in the real world, don't we?
Yes.
Next, Kennedy pressed on the Trump connection. Are you personally responsible for everything President Trump says? Dr. Moran said no, of course not. He's there to advise, not to censor. Kennedy pointed out the absurdity of expecting advisors to hold daily press conferences every time they disagree with their boss. No one did that under Biden, Obama, or Clinton.
Are you personally responsible for everything President Trump says?
No, my role as the chairman of the
Before President Trump says something as President of the United States, does he call you up and say, Stephen, I'm about to say this and I want your approval? Does he do that?
Never.
And after the president says something, does he call you up and say, Stephen, was that okay? Are you okay with this?
Nope. I have an advisory role.
Okay. Now, sometimes intelligent adults, reasonable people disagree. Is that true?
Very often.
Is it part of your job description, when you disagree with something the president says, to call a press conference and say, he's wrong about this and let me explain to you why? Is that part of your job description?
Not as CH.
Is that part of the job description of any aide that you know of to President Biden?
No.
How about for President Obama?
No.
How about for President Clinton?
No.
We don't live in La La Land, do we? Do we?
No.
Now, monetary policy is important, and the Fed is in charge of it. But monetary policy is not the only thing that's important. Fiscal policy is important, isn't it?
Fiscal policy is extremely important.
And I don't care how low the Federal Reserve lowers interest rates. If the United States Congress is profligate in its spending, if it spends money like it's pond water, if it runs up $37 trillion in debt, and deficit spends to the tune of 7% every year, that also has an impact on employment and economic growth and inflation, does it not?
Absolutely, and I think people often make a mistake by looking solely at monetary policy when fiscal policy is a huge driver.
And in fact, the Federal Reserve can lower short-term rates through the Open Market Committee all you want. But that doesn't necessarily mean that long rates, 10 years and above, are going to go down, does it?
Not necessarily.
Right, because if the bond market counts too, doesn't it?
Of course.
If the bond, you can lower rates as low as you want to, but if the bond market thinks that inflation is on the horizon, those rates are going to keep going up or at least stay steady. Isn't that accurate?
Yes, the Federal Reserve does not control the long end of the yield curve.
Okay, so what Congress does matters, doesn't it?
Hugely.
Then he hit the big question. Are you Donald Trump's puppet? Dr. Moran fired back. He's not anyone's puppet. He says he'll call it like he sees it, even if it isn't popular. But then Kennedy switched gears. He reminded everyone that the Federal Reserve isn't magic. Congress's wild spending, $37 trillion in debt, can drive up inflation no matter what the Fed does with interest rates. The bond market ultimately sets long-term rates, not the Fed. And Kennedy's closing line? Classic. He told Dr. Moran, "We need a monetary plan that wasn't put together by vodka and darts." His message was simple. Ignore the politics, do the math, and don't be afraid to speak the truth.
My good friend Senator Warren says, you're Donald Trump's puppet. Are you Donald Trump's puppet?
Not at all. I'm very independently minded, as shown by my willingness to stray from consensus and have out-of-consensus views, and I believe that, I will continue to be as independent, in my thinking process, if confirmed.
We're going to hold you to that, Governor, future Governor. You need to call them like you see them. There's nothing wrong with politicians in Washington offering their opinions. You can't stop them. But we need a monetary plan that was put together by something other than vodka and darts. And that's what we had the Federal Reserve for. Now, you're going to get a lot of advice from politicians. I'm not saying they're always wrong. Even a blind chicken finds a mealworm now and then. But you've got to call them like you see them. And ignore, nothing wrong with people giving their advice, but ignore all the rhetoric from all politicians. Will you give me that commitment?
I do commit to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This hearing was about more than one nominee. It was about whether the Federal Reserve can stay above the partisan fray and protect America's economic future. Kennedy reminded us that the Federal Reserve's independence only works if its leaders are willing to stand up, tune out the noise, and focus on the math, not the politics. Because if they bend to partisan wins, whether from Trump, Biden, or anyone else, the cost won't be measured in headlines. It will be measured in jobs, in inflation, and in the future stability of America's economy. So, if you want more moments like this where the real story unfolds, hit that like button and subscribe for more unfiltered coverage right here.